So,
Hi, I am Mr. Sarwar Hussain, intern of Ministry Medical College. In this video, I demonstrated the examination of nervous system. And in nervous system, in nervous system, you just touch several things. Examination started with the higher psychic function, then cranial nerve examination, then sign of meningitis, then motor examination of both upper and lower limb, then sensory examination of both upper and lower limb. In this part of the video, I demonstrated you how to evaluate the higher psychic function, and then cranial nerve examination 3, 4, and 6. And now I evaluate the higher psychic function. For higher psychic function, you need to know we evaluate the three things. Each patient is oriented with the time, place, and person. Level of consciousness by evaluate by Glasgow-Coma scale, and then memory. For orientation with time, place, person, you have to ask three questions: time, place, and person. For time, এখন কি দিন না রাত?
দিন।
এখন কোথায় আছেন?
National Medical College.
He can told that he is in National Medical College. He is oriented with the place and person. Cameraman ke
Rizvi bhai.
He can also recognize Rizvi. He oriented with the person, and then you evaluate the level of consciousness by Glasgow-Coma scale, and then look for memory. In there any memory impairment. For short-term memory, you have to ask. সকালে কি দিয়ে নাস্তা করছো?
রুটি বাজে।
তুমি for long-term memory, you have to ask any recognizable history, previous history, such as Bangladesh কত সালে স্বাধীন হয়েছে?
1971.
So memory, you have two type of memory: short-term memory and long-term memory. Long-term memory usually lost in case of Alzheimer's, such as Alzheimer's disease, degenerative brain disease, and you evaluate the short-term memory by short-term questions such as সকালে কি দিয়ে নাস্তা করছো? And in case of long-term memory, you have to ask any major recognizable history such as Bangladesh কবে স্বাধীন হয়েছে. And now I demonstrated you the examination of 346 cranial nerve. 346 cranial nerve examination have several parts. It started with the question, one question, and three thing inspection, and two examination. There is one question, three inspection, and two examination. So one question, আপনি কখনো চোখে দুইটা দেখছেন? Just simple one question. আপনি কখনো চোখে দুইটা দেখছেন? Ask for diplopia, and then inspect for nystagmus, involuntary ossiculatory eye movement. Then see any squint is present, whether squint is present or not, and then ptosis. So in inspection we see three things. First of all, we see nystagmus, squint, and dropping of the eyelid. It's called ptosis. Is there any ptosis is present or absent? And examination proper. And examination proper, we does examination two things examination. First, ocular movement and pupillary examination. For ocular movement, you have to sit 1 meter from the patient, and your distance should be in 1 meter distance. It's not mandatory, but you sit in a tour. And then for initiation of the ocular movement, you have to do it in a H-shape manner. Started from the center. And instruction is very important because আপনি আমার দিকে তাকায় থাকবেন, মাথা নড়াবেন না, আঙ্গুল যেদিকে যায় সেদিকে চোখ নড়াবেন। আপনি আমার দিকে তাকায় থাকবেন, মাথা নড়াবেন না, আঙ্গুল যেদিকে যায় সেদিকে চোখ নড়াবেন। So we started with your examination by this instruction. I just made a half of an H and then another half of H. So you see the ocular movement examination, and then I demonstrated the pupillary examination. In pupillary examination, you have to do three things: direct right reflex, consensual right reflex, and accommodation reflex. For direct right reflex, you just light over a eye and observe the constriction of same pupil. It is called direct right reflex. It's called direct right reflex. Now consensual right reflex. Consensual right reflex, you just put light on a eye and observe it in the opposite eye. That's why it's called consensual right reflex. Now accommodation reflex. For accommodation reflex, you ask the patient to see distally. দূরের দিকে তাকান, আমার আঙ্গুলের দিকে তাকান। For accommodation reflex, we just see convergence of the eyeball and constriction of the pupil. It's all about examination of the third, fourth, and sixth cranial nerve. For recap, I just recap it. For you ask one question, আপনি কখনো চোখে দুইটা দেখছেন, three thing inspection: ptosis, nystagmus, and squint. And do examination, eyeball movement of the eyeball, and pupillary examination. Movement of the eyeball, you just 1 meter distance, you sit the 1 meter distance, and in a E-shape manner you just do it. And in case of pupillary examination, you do three things: direct right reflex, consensual right reflex, and accommodation reflex. Thanks.